Welcome back to Good Sports for You, where we are talking about good sports for you. And today we're changing it up a little bit. I know we've had a lot of baseball coverage, obviously because the playoffs are going on, but we're switching it up a little bit of college football. I love college football, so I want to talk about it for a little bit. And I'm wearing my hat today because I was working a game earlier in the day, a field hockey game. Shout out field hockey, weird sport. And I had to have my hat on the entire day because it was really sunny, so I have really bad hat hair, so the hat is staying on for right now, so bear with me. But today I want to talk about two teams who have just shot themselves in the foot when it came to the playoff chances in this past week. And those two teams are Penn State and Texas. So I want to look at those two teams, talk about what happened, and then I want to look at teams who have made the playoffs in this new expanded format, look at some of those teams that also had two losses, and then look at the rest of their schedule for Penn State and Texas and see, quite frankly, if they have any chance to make it into the playoffs after two bad losses from each of them. We're going to start with Penn State, and hey, they lost their first game to number 6 ranked Oregon at the time, at home in their whiteout game. It's tough, it's humiliating, but you know what? Oregon's a really good team. They played it really close, went into overtimes. Like, it's fine at the end of the day, as long as you take care of business against the teams in front of you. And then they lost to 0-4 UCLA. 0-4 UCLA. The UCLA team, who didn't even have a head coach hired at the time. They were running an interim head coach. A head coach who didn't even know what buttons to press because he was pressing the wrong buttons because he's not used to calling the plays. Didn't even remember to flip his headset down all the time. The UCLA team that was 0-4 against teams like the powerhouse teams, New Mexico State, Northwestern, that's who you lost to. At a Rose Bowl that was barely filled at all. UCLA is not a football school, and that's who you lost to. In humiliating fashion. You lost to the quarterback Nico Iamaleava, who people were clowning as making the worst transfer decision in like modern college football history. You left Tennessee, who's doing great with Joey Aguilar, and you're going to UCLA. That's who this Penn State team lost to. What a joke. What a joke. And now they went from ranked high in the top 10 to unranked. Unranked, and rightfully so, quite frankly. I mean, just absolutely horrendous. And now when you're looking at their path, there's not really a path forward for them. And then you go over to Texas. Texas lost to Ohio State early on. That's fine. You lost to the national champion. Like, that's okay. It was in Columbus. That's fine. You can take a breather. Then they beat up on some bad teams, some teams that they don't even have any right to be playing, quite frankly. And then they lost to Florida. A Florida team that is absolutely reeling. A 1-3 Florida team. A Florida team that shows that they haven't been able to get it done against anyone this season. You lost to them in the Swamp. In my opinion, that is an objectively better loss. So you're looking at the Texas team and you're like, okay, you could still potentially see a path forward, but that path is rough, and now it got so narrow that you need to be basically perfect. Because when you look at all the other playoff teams from last year, like, let's take a look. Both of these teams are unranked now. The only team that was unranked after the Week 6 games last year that made it to the playoffs was Arizona State. And Arizona State won their conference championship. I don't think either of these teams will have the chance to win their conference championship unless, like I said, unless they play basically perfect. Penn State definitely won. I mean, 2 losses in the Big Ten. You're not going to make the championship game. Texas, if things go right and some things go wrong for some other teams, They definitely could, but they're not in the same position as Arizona State, who kind of like went on an insane run and kind of lucked in to winning the Big 12 championship game. So it's not really apples to apples. None of the other teams, none of the at-large teams were unranked at this time. So like I said, the road for these teams are extremely narrow just looking at this history. But like, let's look at some of the specific teams. Clemson, who is the last team in because they won the ACC championship game, their losses were to Georgia, who is the number 1 team, a 5-3 Louisville team who went on to be a bowl champ game, South Carolina, who was number 15 at the time. They were ranked number 10 at Week 6. SMU, 11-2. Their games that they lost was to an unranked BYU team extremely early in the season. That BYU team finished 11-2 and also won a bowl game. And their only other loss was in the ACC championship to Clemson, who was ranked number 17 at the time. Then you're looking at Indiana. They only had one loss, and that was to Ohio State, and they were ranked in the 10 slot. And now I know, like, Arizona State and Boise State, like, jumped them and everything like that, but they were in the 10 slot for the playoffs. Tennessee may be the most comparable if these teams are able to win out, because Tennessee lost to an unranked 3-2 Arkansas team, who also went on to be bowl game winners, and then they lost to a number 12 ranked Georgia team who was 7-2 at the time. Or Ohio State, who went on to win the whole entire thing. They lost on the road to Oregon, who was number 3 at the time, by 1 point, and they lost to an unranked Michigan team who was 6-5. Notre Dame went 11-1. They lost, I think we all remember, to the Northern Illinois team. Great game, crazy game. That Northern Illinois team was actually pretty good. They went on to win a bowl game, so that's saying something. This Penn State team from last year, 11-2. They lost to number 4 OSU, and they lost to number 1 Oregon in the Big Ten championship game. Texas, number 5, 11-2. Number 5 against UGA, who they lost to. They lost to UGA again in the SEC championship game. After that, you're getting into teams that got the byes because they won their conference championships. So you're looking at that and you're saying none of these teams have comparable anythings to what we just saw with at least Penn State. Penn State had by far the most humiliating loss of any of the teams that I just mentioned. I mean, if you're looking at some of the if you want to talk like humiliating losses, okay, Tennessee lost to an unranked Arkansas who was 1 game above 500. Ohio State lost to an unranked Michigan team, which was also 1 game above 500 at the end of the season. None of those teams are remotely close to losing to an 0-4 UCLA team. 0-4. It's just unacceptable. Or even Texas, a 1-3 Florida team. A 1-3 Florida team. But at least I can say, like, oh, Florida played a lot of tough opponents and everything like that. And, you know, playing at the Swamp is different. Because I'm telling you, playing in Los Angeles is not any different. At all. At all. And I've seen people say, well, you know, the time zone changes. Guess who came over and just beat you? Oregon. Where is Oregon? On the West Coast. They went to your time zone and they beat you at your whiteout game. Your game of the season, and they beat you. And then you can't beat UCLA and people want to talk about time zones? That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. It's crazy. But I wanted to look at some teams that were also on the bubble from last year. You had Alabama, which went 9-3. 9-3, so you have one more loss than what these teams are at right now. They lost to Vanderbilt. Crazy game. First of all, that's a good Vandy team also. They ended up being ranked at some points in the season. They lost to Tennessee at home. Great game. I was working Jumbotron for that game. Awesome game. Not nearly as good as 52-48, but or 49. 52-49. Want to get that right. But Tennessee was ranked 11 at that time. And then they lost to a 5-5 Oklahoma team. I will say that. I don't know how they were even on the bubble, quite frankly. I don't think they should have been. Miami went 10-2. So if these teams went perfect, this is what they would have. Miami. They lost to Georgia Tech. A Georgia Tech team who went on to play in a bowl game, who went on to having a winning record, and a Syracuse team that went 9-3. That was a good Syracuse team. And Miami was the second team out with those 2 losses. And they didn't play in the conference championship because they had those 2 losses. So you're looking at these 2 teams, and you're looking at the 2 teams that I just compared them to, the Alabama and Miami. Can you seriously tell me and look me in my eyes and say that any of those losses that Texas had or Penn State had is better than losing either to Vanderbilt last season, Tennessee last season, Oklahoma last season, Georgia Tech, or Syracuse? I can't. I could maybe give you that this Florida team is better than Oklahoma. I can maybe give you that. All the other losses, no. Not a chance. Not a chance those are worse than UCLA or a 1-3 Florida team too. Like, this is not a world-beating team at all. They're not good. They're not good. And Billy Napier, when he's on the hot seat, is like built different, and I know that. So it's like maybe they could go on a run. We'll see what happens. I doubt it, but we will see. We will see. Now, I want to look at the rest of the schedule for both of these teams, and both of them are quite frankly brutal. And with one more loss, I mean, they're done, because the only team with 3 losses to make the playoffs last year was a 10-3 Clemson team who won their conference championship. And Penn State, for example, they're already down 0-2 in the Big Ten standings. Texas is already down a loss in the SEC standings. That's brutal. You're going to have to win out. Texas is going to have to win out in the SEC if they want to make the championship game. Penn State, there's no way they're going to make the championship game. Penn State, they have a brutal schedule at points. At points which honestly could favor them, because if they win these games, then it would be hard to deny, but that UCLA loss would be so brutal. They play Ohio State at Ohio State. I do not see a world where they win that game. Then they play a currently ranked number 7 Indiana. The number 7 Indiana team, they don't play a tough schedule. They didn't play a tough schedule last year. They were great last year. And this year, they destroyed Illinois. They destroyed them. It wasn't even close. It wasn't even funny. And then also, you're looking at this Penn State team after UCLA. You're looking at Nebraska, for example. I'll even say Rutgers. Rutgers football team. You're looking at either of those teams, quite frankly, any team on the schedule, and you're saying, geez, I'm nervous. I'm nervous. We just lost to UCLA, and you think we can take down Nebraska? Are you kidding me? No way. No shot. They really got to find something. And James Franklin can't win the big games at all. At all. So you expect him to beat Ohio State? That's a huge game. No, he can't win the big games. It's brutal. And also, not to mention, they got to play the team that beat UCLA, Northwestern. Northwestern beat UCLA. You couldn't beat UCLA. Can you beat Northwestern at least? Known football powerhouse Northwestern? They would have to win out every single game to even have a chance. And there is no way that they can beat both Ohio State and Indiana. There's just no way. I was looking at the ESPN playoff predictor before, and you can click blah, blah, blah. And then they say your 3 toughest matchups, And for Penn State, it had Ohio State, it had Indiana, and it had Nebraska. And then you say, you win these, you lose these. And I was like, okay, if they were to lose to Ohio State, and then I think I said beat Indiana and lose to Nebraska, they were like, yeah, there's basically no shot that you make the playoffs. UCLA wasn't even an option. I was doing this before the UCLA game because no one thought that UCLA would even be a challenge for this team. It's Penn State, for crying out loud. But regardless, that game was so bad. I didn't even have it on to begin with. I was watching other things. I was watching baseball. I was watching other college football. And I was looking at the score, and I said to my roommate, I was like, oh my gosh, Penn State is losing to UCLA. He's like, oh, wow, And then later, we turned it on, and he was like, oh my gosh, Penn State is about to lose to UCLA. I was like, I know, I told you that. He was like, that just didn't process in my mind because UCLA is so bad and Penn State is so good. I just assumed you misspoke or translated it in my brain wrong. That is how good this Penn State team was supposed to be and how bad this UCLA team is. Okay, let's look at Texas now. Let's look at Texas. Texas, brutal schedule. They got to play number 6 Oklahoma, number 20 Vanderbilt, number 10 Georgia at Georgia, and number 5 Texas A&M. That is 4 ranked teams. Not to mention, I am SEC bias. SEC is tough, man. Big Ten is also tough. You could lose a game on any given night. We just saw that against a bad Florida team and against a bad UCLA team. But do you seriously tell me that this team can, first of all, beat Oklahoma? That Red River rivalry is worth way more now because it is a no-lose situation for that Texas team. And you're looking at these other squads. Vandy just gave Bama a good game. Vandy's a good team now, and you got to play them. And then you have to play Georgia at Athens? I do not see a world where they can come out unscathed. And then also you have Texas A&M, which has arguably been the best team in the SEC this year. You also have to play them. I don't see a path forward. They're going to lose a game, and if they lose a game, they're done. They're done, because you can't make the championship, realistically, the SEC championship game, if you're going to lose 2 games. It's just there's no logical path forward for them. Texas, I have more faith in that if they find a way to win out, and then you get a little bit of help from some of your friends, on the sides and stuff like that, I definitely think that they can make it. They have a chance if they win out, which I think is extremely unlikely. Penn State, on the other hand, there's no way they're going to win out. And even if they do win out, that UCLA loss is just like such a stain on the record. I don't know. And it comes down to like, what's the committee going to value more? Like quality wins, quality losses, bad wins, bad losses. It's like, I don't know. But all I know is that a UCLA loss, an 0-4 UCLA loss is dreadful on the resume. And a 1-3 Florida loss is absolutely brutal on the resume as well. And like for both of these teams, it's tough, and I feel bad. I mean, I don't really, but I kind of feel bad, especially for Texas fans, because you have Arch Manning, who's supposed to be like the guy and like the next future of Texas football, and he's not been very good for them. And he's beat up on the bad teams. Good. You should, because you're not beating up on the good teams. And then the good Power 4 team that you play is Florida, or the bad. They're a bad Power 4 team right now. And you lose to them? So you can't even beat the bad good teams? I just don't get it. I don't get these teams, and it's sad. But also at the same time, I love it. Like I love chaos in college football. That is what college football is about. But all I know is that the coaches need to get their heads screwed on straight. They need to figure something out if they want any chance to do anything this season. But this, I think, at least for Penn State, is the nail in the coffin. And for Texas, you're on death's doorstep right now, and you cannot stumble forward at all. But anyway, that's all I got for you. I hope you enjoyed listening to me. I had a great time talking to you. I know that we switched up a little bit today with college football, but I love talking college football, so I wanted to do it. But that's been it for me. I hope you've enjoyed listening to Good Sports for You. I've had a great time talking to you about good sports for you. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all those things that you need to do. But I really appreciate it, and that's all I got for you. And I'm out.